So let's talk about stimulus and stimulus in 2024, because what we are now facing are some incredible times. And this is not incredible for the majority of Americans. The people that are struggling, those that have lower incomes, even the middle class, don't have what they need to survive. This is surviving financially. So I want to break down what's going on, why we're seeing more lawmakers push for some additional stimulus and assistance to the American people in 2024. So I'll break all that down in today's video. We'll also discuss a potential $30,000 stimulus package, where this is coming from, what this entails, and who this would actually go to. So don't miss that. Watch this entire video and I'll explain exactly what is going on. But all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. So first off, let's discuss this potentially $30,000 stimulus package. It's this one right here. I talked about this yesterday, but many people had questions. This says thousands of Americans to get $500 monthly payments under new plan. Now, what you may not know is that these $500 monthly payments, this would go on for 5 years. That means $500 a month would be $6,000 a year. For 5 years is $30,000. Now, this could be a huge help. This could be a massive, massive stimulus package. But here's the thing. It's not targeting the specific groups that could potentially benefit from this. Now, who this package is actually going to would be people on Medicaid. Now, if you're on Medicaid, then you do have to qualify. That means you do have less money. You're a little hard up. But this is the reason why. This is why many lawmakers are now pushing for additional stimulus or some form of assistance to millions and millions of Americans. Look at this. It says 65% of low-income earners have less than $500 on hand for medical emergencies. It says 6 out of 10 consumers who earn below $50,000 per year have less than $500 for a medical emergency. Many of those people also don't have any access to credit, which means they can't use a credit card in order to pay for a medical emergency, or even just a general emergency. For instance, you need something done to your car. And this right here is a problem. But this is for low-income earners. But it's actually also the middle class as well. Look at this. It says nearly 2/3 of middle-class Americans say they're struggling financially. Now, when 2/3 are saying they're struggling financially, 65% of low-income households say they don't have enough money to make a $500 emergency payment. What do we do? Well, this is why lawmakers are pushing for additional stimulus. Now, I want to read you a little bit of this first, just so you can get an idea, but then understand one thing, that these additional stimulus packages that lawmakers are discussing at this time, well, the problem is some of these are too excessive. If we're talking about a $30,000 stimulus package, that right there would cause massive inflation. Okay? Now, it's going to help the low income and middle income households, but the problem is, who is the one paying for it? Where is this money coming from? And in most cases, lawmakers are going to try to get this from, the large corporations and the wealthy. Guess what? They are not going to pay for this. It's going to be tough to pass this bill. But I want to be very clear on something. When it comes to additional stimulus for certain groups in specific states, we will see stimulus. That is something that we are already anticipating because of the way the economy has shifted over the past several years. For one, we are seeing, and it may not be called stimulus per se, but it may be called something like guaranteed income. Okay? Universal basic income. These are two words that have been tossed around as an alternative to stimulus, because we're not trying to stimulate the economy. What we're trying to do is provide some some basic income to low-income households that need an additional boost because the prices becoming so high in real estate and rent, trying to pay for food and cars and insurance, all these things. They're getting out of control. But I want to bring something to you because this is kind of what we're seeing now. Over the past several years, we've seen different ideas floated about. One of which was you get a stimulus check if you have 2 cars. Not 1 car. If you have 2 cars, you get a stimulus check. Well, what if you have a home, right? You get a stimulus check. We see this in multiple states. Okay, you have paid property taxes. We're going to give you a stimulus check. Now they call it something different, but it's essentially a stimulus check to help you with that payment. And then we've seen over the past several years that there was an internet bill that was passed that would give you affordable internet. So not that they'd give you all this money, but they'd make it so your internet bill was less expensive, and then they gave you like $100 or $150 initially to go and buy either a new computer or a tablet. Interesting. Well, here's where people are talking about changing things. What about providing some type of a stimulus to help pay off credit card bills, help pay off student loans? That's something that Biden's been doing for a while. He's been forgiving student loans. What about something that pays off interest on your credit cards or your mortgage, or just completely wipes out your medical bills? Well, this is also something that President Biden has been doing as well. That the Biden administration wants to block medical bills for showing up and being used against you when it comes to your credit report. So essentially, they're not wiping them away. They're just hiding them from other creditors. Interesting. But again, this is where we're going. So we may not see a $30,000 stimulus package, but could we easily see, $150 a month? Yes. Could we easily see, a $250 per month stimulus? Yes, of course. But it's not going to be something that has no strings attached and you can use it anywhere you want. It's going to be something that will be tied to another thing like real estate. Okay? Your credit cards. Make sure you're paying your debts. Make sure you're paying your auto loan. Because what the government doesn't want to do is bail out banks. But what they could do is bail out the American people, which will essentially take the money and then be required to pay the bank. That's what we're seeing right now. So just understand, they may be calling it stimulus, but it might be to help bail out these other companies that are seeing that, right now we're seeing massive layoffs. Hundreds, thousands of people are being laid off every single day simply because the business is struggling. Consumers don't have money. And so how do we bail everybody out? Give the consumer the money. They spend it at the business. The business then goes, spends it on, the supplier, and it just keeps going. So that's what we're about to see. Again, could this $30,000 stimulus package go through? Possibly. I don't see it happening, especially when there's 60 million people on Medicaid. That's too much. So we'll see what happens moving forward. All I can tell you is I will be here every step of the way, and I'll fill you in on all the latest news and updates. But as of today, that is all we know. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.